Hi, welcome to Kelly's Roadhouse, the podcast where we recap every single Sweet Valley High book in the series. I'm Paula and I'm here with Rich.
Hello.
And it's been 8 weeks since our last episode, I think.
I believe so, yep.
And our last episode was Deceptions.
Deceptions, which
our angry episode.
I enjoyed some Deceptions, I must admit.
Our angriest episode we've ever done.
Yeah, quite possibly.
It was just us slagging off Nicholas for a full hour and a half, I think.
Yeah, well, I mean, Nicholas had just Liz had just been kidnapped. Let's put it in perspective.
Yeah.
Liz had just been kidnapped, and now this creep, who knew she was kidnapped because he was searching for her, knew she was kidnapped. Oh god, Nicholas Morrow. Thankfully, not really appearing in this book, apart from a brief mention.
Yeah. So, thanks for coming back after our break to listen to us again. We've got some comments about the last episode, even though it was a while ago. Mm-hmm. I still copied them down.
Yeah.
We'll read them out at the end.
Awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to
this week, we are covering book number 15, Promises.
Yes, indeed.
Which is one of my favourites. I love it.
I must say, now that I've read it, I can see why.
And on the cover, it says, somehow Jessica will get rid of Betsy.
Yeah. She's
Sounds like she's going to kill her.
Well, there is a part. There is a part where I thought she was going to.
Yeah. I think I know which part you mean, actually.
Yeah, well, we'll get to it, but I suspect you thought the same as I did.
And we've got a weird colour choice for the cover. It's grey.
I was going to say, I don't know what colour it is in America, but the colour we got over here is really dull.
Yeah, it's grey.
Yeah.
Instead of a nice pastel-y colour.
Yeah, the text is in pink, which is kind of nice, but yeah, it's in a weird grey colour.
I think my coffee might be really dirty. I'm not sure.
Maybe.
And then there's a picture of Betsy on the front with, again, Liz standing behind her.
Yeah.
She just stands behind people on every single cover lately.
It is kind of her thing, is to stand behind them giving them side-eye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Betsy looks like she's in her 40s, to be honest.
Yeah,
she does not look like a wild child, does she?
Not really, no.
And she looks like she's wearing a nurse's uniform or something.
Yeah.
She's got like a blue top with a white collar.
Yeah.
And she's looking...
not anything like I imagine Betsy would look.
No.
If I'm honest.
And Liz is standing behind her in a pink vest, and she's wearing the lavalier.
She is wearing the lavalier. She got it back. And
she's looking at Betsy in a...
Somewhat,
I don't know.
Well, I think, like, maybe concern, maybe...
you're going to be my project.
My pet project for this week is going to be Betsy Martin.
On the back, it says, bad girl in town. Stephen Wakefield is crushed when his girlfriend, Tricia, dies after a tragic illness. The only things that keep him going are the memory of their love and his promise to Tricia to take care of her sister, Betsy, after she's gone. Betsy Martin's wild exploits with drink, drugs and boys have left her with the worst reputation in Sweet Valley. But when Stephen takes her into the Wakefield home, Betsy makes a promise to change. And as her goodness grows, so does her love for Stephen. Jessica, Stephen's conniving younger sister, doesn't like this one bit. She makes a little promise of her own, to get Betsy out of the house and out of Stephen's life forever.
Well, we will see if she succeeds in getting rid of Betsy Martin.
Yeah, let's go. So
let's do it.
We start at Tricia's hospital bed. It's a bit of a sad scene.
It is very sad, yeah. We open with Liz tearfully, telling Tricia that she can't leave.
Yeah, so at the end of the last book, just to refresh everyone's memory, they were at the Wakefield's house throwing a welcome home. You've been welcome back from being kidnapped party for Elizabeth.
Back from being kidnapped party.
Very specific kind of party.
It is, yeah. I don't know where you get the balloons for that one.
Yeah, and they got a phone call from their parents saying they were all at the Fowler Memorial Hospital as Tricia, who has been suffering from leukemia, was on her deathbed.
Yes, so she'd hidden it from Stephen, and we got Stephen acting like a bit of a psychopath during all that time when he didn't know what was going on.
Being
a bit weird. So he's finally aware of it, and obviously, she came clean, and they decided to spend time together, and they stayed together.
And lucky Tricia, the whole Wakefield family are at a hospital bed.
I mean, how
What more could you want?
Yeah, what more could you want?
And her dad and Betsy aren't there.
Yes, indeed. Her alcoholic father and wild, uncontrollable sister Betsy.
Jessica is feeling ashamed, and she's wondering how Trisha can be so heroic when her day could be ruined by a run in her stockings.
Yeah, I mean, Jessica has a lot to feel ashamed for, so...
Yeah.
Fair.
She's been treating Betsy horribly. She's made it clear all the way through their relationship. She doesn't want Stephen to have anything to do with the Martin family.
No, and only because of Betsy, really. It's like, because of Betsy,
I guess because of the father
Trisha
as well.
Well, and her father, yeah. But Trisha did, like, nothing wrong.
No.
And Jess was proper horrible.
And Jessica thinks that Trisha had the courage of a female Luke Skywalker.
Really odd comparison. Like you, I picked that out, and I was like, why wouldn't you pick a female protagonist from something?
Yeah, Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman. Or why wouldn't you pick a character who was brave in the face of death? Like Ben Kenobi would make more sense from Star Wars. Luke Skywalker lived through all of the movies at that time. It doesn't make any sense.
I've never seen any Star Wars. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, that is fine. But it's an odd comparison.
Okay.
Pick Ellen Ripley or pick Sarah Connor.
Yeah.
You know, a strong female. That would make more sense. But instead of being like a female male character, like, why?
Yeah.
It's so weird.
But it's all very emotional, and the Wakefields say their final farewells to her.
Yeah.
And they say they're going to leave Stephen to be alone with her.
Yes, yeah. I think Ned and Alice get them out of the room.
And on the way out of the room, Jessica silently takes back every nasty thing she'd ever said to Trisha.
Yeah, it's a shame that she couldn't have done that while she was alive.
And will she learn from this?
Well, we'll find out. Just give it like 5 minutes, and I think we'll probably have our answer.
Yeah. and also she tells Trisha to take care.
Oh, yeah.
Take care when you die.
Be careful now. Careful how you go.
It's like so awkward. It's an awkward
really
thing
awkward.
to say.
Yeah. It's a very Jess thing to say, though.
And Trisha and Steve start reminiscing about the day they met.
Yeah.
Trisha was splashing in the ocean and catching raindrops on her tongue.
Oh, that's a bit weird.
And Steve begs her not to go, but she says it's time.
Mm-hmm.
But she's got a last request.
Yes. Stephen asks what, and she responds, my sister. And of course, Stephen questions, what does she want for Betsy? And noting to himself that obviously Betsy couldn't even turn up at this time. She's not even here.
Yeah, but she says she asks him to take care of Betsy when she's gone. And she explains that after their mother died, because Trisha's mother also died of leukemia.
Yeah, so this is
a very tragic family.
It is, and this is the thing that makes it even worse.
I know.
Like, Jessica's
she's
so
got no
horrible.
sympathy.
And so is everyone in
school. Yeah,
school.
she's not the only one, is she?
I mean, we'll get to how everyone else in school sees them. And it's all because of this. So the mother passed away. The father then became a drunk alcoholic. And Betsy went off the rails. It's all because of tragedy. But the way they're treated by everyone in Sweet Valley, or at least the kids, is horrific.
But she explains to Stephen that Betsy only started getting into trouble because when her mother died, their father did a runner.
Yeah.
And disappeared for months and went on a drinking binge.
Yeah.
So she thinks he'll do the same again, and Betsy will be alone this time.
Yeah, so she's trying to ensure that someone's there to look after her sister.
He's not really sure that he's up to this.
No.
But she begs and begs, and so he promises.
He promises... I don't know if you picked up on this, because he does promise. He does. But... she starts trying to talk about Betsy. There's a part when she starts trying to talk about Betsy, and she says that when they were kids, her and Betsy, they were like Liz and Jess, and she starts trying to talk to Stephen about it, and Stephen says, "Be quiet now, you'll wear yourself out." And I was like, was that out of kindness, or did you just not want to talk about Betsy? Were you just like, that's not I don't really want to make this promise.
Yeah,
but he does make his promise. And then, of course, Trish and Stephen say goodbye. Yeah,
she closes her eyes for the last time. And then the Wakefields leave the hospital.
Yeah.
But on the way out, Liz gasps. She sees Betsy racing towards them.
Yeah,
and she's screaming.
Yeah, she's screaming. The book describes that she's got bloodshot eyes and that she's flailing her arms about in a panic, asking where her sister is. And Jessica immediately, quote, "God, look at her. Couldn't walk straight to save her life."
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, like, where have you just been? What's going on? Like, read the room, Jessica.
Yeah. So, yeah, she's obviously drunk. Her makeup's all over her face.
Yeah.
Apparently her skimpy shirt had several missing buttons.
Oh, no.
And she starts pounding Stephen's chest and sobbing.
Yeah.
So he takes her into his arms and over to a chair to break the news to her. And then Jessica comments that she's probably been to every bar in Southern California.
Yeah. She just keeps going on.
Yeah. It's like her sister's just died.
Yeah, and that's the thing, isn't it? It's like, well, what if she has gone to every bar in California tonight? Like, she's in it's a horrible situation. She's grieving, and all right, she's late, which is not great. But, you know, it is kind of understandable this evening that she's not in her right mind. But Jessica's having none of it until Liz basically just tells her to shut up.
Yeah, and then, Liz says, like, Betsy needs our support. And Jess says she's got the support of half the boys in Sweet Valley.
Jesus.
Just comment after comment.
I know.
Dig after dig.
It's, well, as you said, will she learn her lesson?
No.
No. Less than 5 minutes later, no.
And meanwhile, Steve has told Betsy what's happened, and she's hysterical.
Yeah.
And Ned tells them all that he can't get hold of her father. He's been off to try and call Jim Martin.
Yeah.
But there's no answer. So he says, Betsy's coming home with us because she shouldn't be alone tonight.
Absolutely. Did you get the description of Ned?
No.
It says that
Does it say he's athletic?
It does.
Does it? I was joking.
Not athletic. So what it actually says is that you know, Betsy breaks down on Stephen, and then Ned comes over and says what he says. And it says that Ned hugs Betsy with, quote, his own powerful chest.
They're so athletic.
They are so athletic.
Men.
Yeah,
Elizabeth was probably looking at him thinking, God, my dad's so athletic.
My dad is so athletic. Look at those biceps.
Yeah, so Jessica's horrified that Betsy's coming home with them.
Oh, yeah.
And Betsy starts beating herself up for not being there at the end. And she kneels onto the floor and she swears to God that she'll never touch drink or drugs again.
Yeah, and it's really sad. She says that she doesn't feel that she deserves to come home with the Wakefields as well. It's real tragic. But yeah, she basically swears off all the drugs and the alcohol.
And then the twins drive home alone in the Fiat Spider. And Jessica's wondering what people at school will say when they find out that Betsy is staying with them.
Yeah.
And Liz says maybe they'll think that our family are special people. They're special, right?
Yeah, you're definitely special. So
for looking after her. But it's like, if you met your classmates, like, they're not going to think that.
You really think that Lila and Bruce are going to think that?
They're all horrible.
But this, I thought, perfectly summed up the twins. Like, these couple of lines between the two of them. You know, Jess worried about her image in terms of, oh, Betsy's going to bring us down. And Liz worried about her image, thinking, oh, they'll think we're such good Samaritans and such wonderful people. It literally is their personality just on the page right there.
Liz is like, oh, I can virtue signal.
Yeah, they're both
tell everyone how we've taken her in.
Yeah, like, oh, our charity case, look at her. Like, it just literally sums up that they're both as bad as one another. They really are.
Yeah, Jessica says Liz is so naive that if she met Jack the Ripper in a deserted alley, she'd just think he was out getting fresh air.
Yeah, which I put a note saying, did Jess just compare Betsy to a serial killer?
Yeah. And then they change the subject. Jessica starts moaning how she never gets to drive the car.
Yeah.
And Liz reminds her of the speeding ticket she got on the way to Miller's Point.
Oh my lord.
So as we all should know by now, Miller's Point is the make-out spot in Sweet Valley.
It is. It's the place where the boys and girls go if they want to make out.
And Jessica says she regrets that one because Paul Sherwood kissed like a dead fish.
Yeah, yeah. They also point out that Ned, the book kind of suggests that Ned knows exactly what happens up at Miller's Point, which led me to think, was Ned and Alice once up on Miller's Point?
Yeah.
Back in the day.
And then Jessica says that last week Betsy was up at Miller's Point with Charlie Cashman and Jim Sturbridge at the same time.
I know, scandal of scandals.
Are they implying she had a threesome?
Well, I think that's what she's implying, yeah.
So, we're 16 pages in at this point, and we finally get the twin description.
Yeah, it was really late, wasn't it?
They were just
that. I was like, maybe they're not going to do it this time.
Well, they were obviously distracted by someone dying.
Well, I guess so. But they've
a good excuse.
They've had tragedy before and still managed to, you know, they'll be like her teary blue eyes, deep as
they did open with something like that, I think.
I think they start with Liz's teary eyes.
It opens at Liz, and it does say like something about her aqua blue eyes filling with tears or something.
But here we get the full classic description of the twins.
They have dialed it down a bit. They just say they've got sun-kissed blonde hair, perfect creamy complexions, and trim size 6 figures.
Yeah, we don't get the eyes as blue as the Pacific Ocean.
Dazzling twins. All American good looks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then Jessica also brings up Betsy riding around with Rick Andover and getting stopped by the police.
Yes, apparently he
Sound familiar?
High as a kite in his Camaro. And they found drugs in the glove box.
Mm.
But of
and
course,
thank God Liz reminds her that she did the same thing.
I was shouting at the book at that point for Liz to say something, and I was really glad she did.
Yeah, because he probably had drugs in the glove box when he was with her. He probably has drugs in the glove box all the time.
And also... he got into a fight at Kelly's with Jessica there. Jessica, or at least, well, she blamed Liz, but everyone thought that Liz was basically Betsy. And that was all false. Like, Jessica going there, she was perfectly innocent. She didn't really drink at all when she was there. It was all Rick Andover. But everyone thought whoever went there with him was awful, like Betsy is getting now. And it's like, Jess... Like, you can see how easily these rumours start and how this all happens, right? It literally happened to you. But yeah, I was so glad that Liz pointed it out.
And Jessica says the Martins are bad news and Stephen should wash his hands of them all. And Liz does agree that Stephen would be better off without Betsy.
Yeah.
But says she has just lost her sister, so they need to be nice to her.
Yes, and she makes Jessica promise.
But Jessica silently adds, for now, at the end of her promise.
Yeah, she promises, but only for now.
And then we cut to Sweet Valley High.
Yeah.
A crowd has gathered around Winston.
Oh my God.
He's sat at a picnic table outside with a plate piled high with mini pizzas.
Yeah.
And Bruce is saying there's no way he'll finish them all in 4 minutes. And Todd bets him a night at the beach disco that he can.
Yeah. Bruce, of course, takes him up on that.
Liz goes over to Todd.
Well, I thought at that point, I was like, is Bruce going to have to go on a date with Todd? Like, it kind of sounded like, oh, you're going to take me to the
does actually. Liz goes over to Todd and we get like the Todd description of the coffee brown eyes.
Yep.
And apparently the coffee brown eyes that crinkled at the corners and made Elizabeth's pulse speed up.
Oh.
And Winston is telling them all to never underestimate the power of the Starch King. That's what he's calling himself now.
Yeah, that's his new name.
And he gobbles down all the pizzas in less than 4 minutes. He does it.
We also got an amazing moment here, maybe a first in these books. Lila Fowler said that she agreed with Bruce Patman. She said he can't, there's no way he'll manage 4 pizzas. But yeah, as you said, he absolutely does.
This is literally our B plot about Winston eating pizzas.
Can I say the sadness of the opening 20 pages aside, this book is a joy. There's so much good stuff, and the B plot is this is a nothing B plot, but I loved it. It was so much fun.
And then Roger and Ken hoist Winston up onto their shoulders and they carry him across the lawn with everyone following.
Yeah, Enid shouts, "Make way for the Starch King."
And Olivia is banging spoons together.
Yeah.
and Regina comes over and she's just like, what the fuck is going on?
What the hell is going on?
Like, she's quite new to this school. She's not used to how weird they all are yet.
No.
She'll learn.
Yeah, she will.
Yeah, so... all afternoon, back to the serious stuff, Liz is worrying about Betsy.
Yeah.
And she decides to talk to her when she gets home.
Mm-hmm.
Of course she does.
Yeah, Liz starts thinking about how great her friends are and how supportive they are, and she feels that Betsy doesn't have that. So she wants Betsy to have, friends.
So she arrives home and there's music blaring from the study.
Oh, no.
And she imagines, just because of live music...
I know.
She imagines a smoke-filled room, half-empty bottles littering the red oriental rug. Not the red oriental rug.
No, not the rug.
Don't damage the rug. And Betsy sprawled on the sofa, maybe even with a guy.
Yeah, a needle hanging out of her arm.
Yeah.
Who knows?
This is because of her writer's imagination.
Oh, yeah, this is because of her writer's imagination, of course.
Maybe she should write a book about Betsy.
Well, maybe she's written a poem. We'll get to that in a bit.
Yeah. She knocks on the study door but gets no answer.
Yeah.
So she just walks in.
Yeah.
And she's shocked by what she sees.
I love this. She's shocked that Betsy isn't, like, pilled out of her mind.
Yeah. Betsy's sat at the desk drawing.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. It's almost like she's a normal girl.
Yeah. But well, because she smokes and drinks...
She must be awful.
Liz didn't think she'd have any other interests.
No, that's all she does. She just drinks.
That's all she does.
Yeah.
But Liz is shocked to see, she's doing something else.
Oh my God. She has hobbies?
She doesn't just constantly smoke and drink. And then she asks if Betsy wants a brownie and a glass of milk.
Yeah.
And Betsy says, milk, the good girls drink. I guess I'll have to get used to that. But, like, what does she mean? Didn't she drink anything but booze before?
Yeah, she's like that's all I could drink.
Yeah.
We had in the fridge.
And then Liz thinks that it seems like Betsy wants to be left alone. But does she leave her alone? No.
No, of course not.
She just thinks it. She's like, she seems to want to be alone, but am I going to leave her alone? No. So she thinks everyone needs a friend, even Betsy. Even
this,
trash like Betsy.
Even the tramp known as Betsy.
So she gets Betsy to open up about her drawing, and Betsy confides in her about how it's kept her going since her mum died. And she says that the live music, she uses it at home to block out the noise of her dad stumbling around.
Yeah.
And the neighbours fighting, because obviously, as we know, she lives in the rough part of town.
The one rough street in
she
Sweet
must
Valley
have rough
High.
neighbours as well.
Of course.
But
go on. No, go for it.
I think you know what I'm going to say.
Yeah, I know what you're going to say.
'Cause I've already said this to you before this episode. Then, yeah, of course, like Betsy's opening up, and then of course, fucking Liz makes it about her and her writing.
Yep.
Again.
She
starts comparing it.
Yeah. But what I love is that Betsy is basically like, oh yeah, I remember you used to write for that paper or whatever it was. And like Liz is like, I think like Liz's pride must have been a bit like, because everyone else in Liz's life is like, oh my God, your Oracle, the Oracle was, oh, it's so good, the Eyes and Ears column, oh, you're so talented. And Betsy's like, oh yeah, I remember you wrote some stupid paper or something.
But then she starts bragging about the Eyes and Ears column.
Yeah.
And Betsy asks if she ever writes anything for herself.
Yeah.
And as usual, we're again told how private Liz is about her writing.
Even though...
Are you fucking kidding me?
She mentions it every second of the day.
She's not private about her writing at all.
She's one of those people that will like try and force that topic into every conversation. Well, she just has. She literally just has. There was no reason for her to bring this up.
And Betsy asks her like more about her writing. Yeah. And she's like, oh, I'm private about it, but go on then.
Well, yeah, but since you asked,
I'll tell you. And then she starts going on about it. But she says she's very shy about it.
Yeah, she's got a secret drawer full of poetry.
God, I'd love to go through that drawer.
I have a note here saying I really want to read some Liz poetry.
We do get some.
Oh, do we?
At some point, I think.
I'm so excited.
I might be getting confused. It might be in senior year we get it.
Well, we'll get there eventually.
Betsy says she keeps her drawing private too. And it's like, Betsy actually does though.
She had a closed door that you just burst
and
in.
Nobody knows about Betsy's drawing, really.
No, literally no one.
So she actually does. And she says she knows what people say about her. The booze, the pills, the guys. And it's all true. And Liz persuades her, or pressures her, more like, to let her see what she's drawing. And it's an amazing portrait of Trisha. Liz wells up and impulsively gives Betsy a hug.
Yeah. She says it's absolutely beautiful and that she's incredibly talented. And she even says that she thinks Stephen would love it. And Betsy says that that's exactly what she thought when she was doing it.
Yeah. And then we cut to Liz's room. The twins are getting ready for the funeral, for Trisha's funeral.
Yes. And of course, Jessica is stood in a pile of clothes.
She's having a fashion crisis. And Liz reminds her that it's not a cocktail party and says, how can you be so concerned about your looks at a time like this?
Yeah.
And Jessica says, well, someone in the family has to look respectable to make up for having Betsy with us.
At her sister's funeral. Yeah.
And she tells Liz she heard Betsy coming home in the early hours of the morning. And Liz is all, like, disappointed. But it's like she could have been anywhere.
I know. And we'll find out where she was.
Yeah.
But it's like instantly, Liz is like, oh, well, that must be it then.
Yeah.
I'm so disappointed in her. It's like, do you girls not realise the amount of times that rumours have been made about you two? Do you not realise how these rumours start? Like, find, like, actual evidence first.
Yeah. Down at breakfast, biggest surprise, Alice has baked muffins.
I said, because it's a funeral, she's actually done some
special
cooking.
occasion.
Yeah. Because
Well done,
normally
Alice.
it would be Liz making those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Betsy's at the table. She's red-eyed, probably from crying, I'm going to add.
Well, probably, but Liz wonders immediately whether it's because of crying or because of booze.
Yeah. And Jess is all like, have a late night.
Oh, Jess is so awful in this book.
And she says, actually, yeah, she did. She went home to go through Trish's things and she fell asleep on the sofa.
Yeah. And
so that's where she was.
Yeah, that's where she was. But Jessica immediately is like, right.
Yeah. She's probably trying to get away from Liz's brownies and milk.
Yeah.
She was like, fuck this, I'm off home for a bit to get away from these psychopaths. And Stephen comes in. He's got a present for Betsy.
Yeah.
Some paint and some brushes. Which is nice. But I was like, for fuck's sake, Liz has told him about Betsy sketching, even though she said she was really private about it.
Yeah, she's like, I'm really private about this, and Liz has just gone ahead and like told everyone that she knows. I also thought it was a bit weird, because it's like, Stephen comes in and he gives her the acrylic paint set, and she's blown away by this, and he's like, oh yeah, well I knew you liked to draw, so I thought I'd get you some painting stuff as well. And it's like, why don't you get her stuff to sketch with? Like, if sketching's her thing, why don't you get her some pencils?
Yeah.
It's weird that you're like, oh, hey, I heard you play really good guitar, so I got you this piano.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
And at the funeral, Betsy's the only Martin there.
Yeah, Betsy scans the crowd and is quite angry to see that her father's nowhere to be found.
But you know who is there?
Oh, yeah, we know who's there.
Mr. Collins.
I feel like every listener to this podcast already knew the answer to that before we said it.
Of course he's there. And Ned says, as Mr. Martin is still missing, that Betsy can stay with them for a few more days.
Yes, and of course Jess is horrified. She thought once the funeral happened that Betsy would be on her way and that would be the end of that.
Yeah.
But no.
The twins and Betsy ride home with Stephen, but as soon as they get in the car, Betsy tells Stephen in a flat voice he's taking them to Kelly's.
Yeah.
And we're reminded that Kelly's is the seediest and most disreputable bar in Sweet Valley.
I think we run a very good establishment here at Kelly's.
Only the most hardcore bottom-of-the-barrel drinkers are there midweek.
Well, I do think that there is one pub that's worse than Kelly's, which we'll get to later.
She says maybe Mr. Picture Perfect Stephen Wakefield doesn't know the way to Kelly's.
Yeah, Stephen...
I thought Jess should have been like, it's okay, I know.
Yeah, just
Calling out
like,
from the
I
back
remember
seat.
going there. Or she should have actually been like, kept the lie up and just been like, well, Liz has been there.
Yeah. He refuses to take her there, and Jessica says, well, she can probably find some other guy who will.
Yeah, Jess cannot help but get digs in every chance she gets.
And Betsy says Trisha was the best person in the world, and look where it got her. And what if her dad never even comes back? And Steve says, well, from now on, you can stay with the Wakefields. For good.
Oh my god, forever.
Later on at school, Cara and Lila are demanding to know what's up with Jessica. Because they say they know it's not the trauma of Trisha's funeral. It's like, even they know.
Even they know you're a heartless
cold-hearted bitch she is, yeah. And she tells them it's about Betsy. That tramp, Cara says in disgust.
Like, immediate reaction, that tramp. As soon as they even hear the name, it's like, whoa.
Even though she's just got back from her sister's funeral.
I know.
I'm disappointed in Cara as well.
Yeah,
she
Cara always
usually doesn't
seem
seem
nice.
that bitchy.
No, she is today.
And Jessica says, that tramp has moved into my house.
Mm-hmm.
And now for my favourite quote in the book from Lila.
I was about to read it, and I was like, I know you're going to want to read this.
I love this bit.
It's brilliant.
She says, "How positively awful having to share your home with such low-class trash. Why? Our stable boy has more class than Betsy Martin."
You know, Lila is an awful bitch, but there's just something something so funny about her.
I know.
You know?
Because she's so blatant about it.
Yeah.
She doesn't care.
Yeah. She just doesn't. Yeah.
She knows she's awful.
Yeah. Yeah, she's fully aware, and she doesn't try and hide it or pretend.
No.
Yeah.
But they're distracted by Winston walking by with a tray, and this time it's piled high with ham and cheese sandwiches.
Yes, and Jess asks what on earth he's doing. And Cara tells her that Winston is trying to break the world record now. Her eating 7 extra large pizzas in one sitting. And for reasons that are beyond me, he's using sandwiches as practice.
Yeah. Like, practice with pizza.
Yeah, I would have.
But he's trying to increase his capacity for starch, it says.
He's the starch king. Why does he need to increase his capacity?
And they get back to plotting how to get rid of Betsy. Is that the bit you thought they were going to kill her?
No.
Oh.
But yeah, it does sound like they're going to get... They are like, let's get rid of her.
How could we dispose of her?
Dispose of her?
Make her disappear.
Yeah.
And then Jess complains. Everyone feels so sorry for her. It's all poor Betsy. She's had it so rough. What about poor me? I think that's one of the worst things she's ever said.
On the day of her sister's funeral, the same day, I imagine. It's either the same day or the next day. And no, it is the same day because Mr. Collins asks them if they're going to school and the twins say they are. It's the same day as her sister's funeral and Jess is saying, oh, it's all about Betsy. Like, yeah, today it probably is, to be fair.
But they do come up with a plan.
Oh, yeah, they do.
Jessica's going to go through Betsy's stuff and find her drugs because they assume she's got some.
Yeah.
And then she'll casually mention it to Alice and Alice will kick Betsy out.
Yes, Alice cannot stand and won't stand for any drugs in the house. It's the perfect plan, assuming the drugs are there.
So that evening when Betsy is out, Jessica puts the plan into action. She finds a makeup bag and she's really shocked when it's got makeup in.
I know.
No shit.
It says... I'll get to it in a second.
And then she finds a pill box, but it's just got aspirin in it.
And it says here, so this is the bit. She finds the pills, and she's like so excited she's found pills. Turns out to be aspirin. And the book says that it literally says that she shrieks in frustration. Like, she's like screams in
just imagine
anger.
Her, like, throwing a tantrum in the middle of the study.
Like, so angry that this girl's not got drugs on her.
And then she starts flicking through Betsy's sketch pad, and she grudgingly admits to herself that trashy Betsy is actually an okay artist.
Even more than okay.
But then she's shocked by a drawing that she sees, and she drops the pad. This is
made out like it is like the way this plays out is like it's like a sketch of like Alice with a knife through her chest or something.
I know.
It's like she gasps and she drops the book, and I'm like, oh, what's it gonna be?
Yeah, all it is. Well, actually, no, it doesn't tell us yet.
We'll get to it in a sec.
So she bursts into Liz's room and she says, "I have to talk to you." And Liz says, "Make it quick because me and Todd are meeting Nicholas and Regina for dinner." It's like, so I guess that Nicholas situation is okay now then? It's a bit weird.
We assume.
Like, he stalked you and Todd's like fine with going out for a meal with him now?
Yeah, I think like Todd even being on speaking terms with him at this point is a bit of a stretch. But he's like, okay, just to keep the peace.
He literally tried to steal her from Todd.
But right in front of him as well.
Yeah.
But to now be not only like, okay, we're on speaking terms, but to then be like, yeah, we're going out for
a meal.
Meals and stuff. It's like, what? What are you doing? This guy's a psychopath.
I know. But Jess tells Liz that she went to the study because she wanted to see Betsy's sketches. That's the excuse she gives.
Yeah.
And she says, Miss Tramp of the Year is really a budding Leonardo da Vinci.
Yeah.
Da Vinci. And Liz says that Betsy draws things and people she loves.
Yes.
And Jessica says, well, I bet there's one picture she didn't show you. Dun, dun, dun. A picture of Stephen. That was the big thing that made her drop the pad.
Gasp and drop the
Just
pad.
a picture of their brother.
I just put, oh my god, this means literally nothing.
Yeah.
It's just a picture of a guy that she knows.
I mean, as we discover, I mean, this isn't really a spoiler because it said it on the back.
It does, yeah.
Like, she has got a thing for Stephen.
But this doesn't prove it.
No, this doesn't really mean that.
Yeah, I'm kind of annoyed that it did turn out to be true, because it's just like, there's no evidence here at all.
The next day at school, Jessica's moaning to Cara about Betsy dragging down the family.
Yeah, she says...
You drag your own family down.
You do. She drags her own family down. But I love that she complains to Cara that the plan isn't working, and she even suggests that Lila came up with this plan on purpose, knowing there wouldn't be any drugs, so that she could gloat at Jessica being stuck with Betsy.
Yeah, I don't think Lila would care enough
to
do that.
The most elaborate plan. Like, how would she know?
Yeah. And Cara tells her that everybody's talking about Betsy and Stephen because Caroline Pierce saw them at the cinema and Betsy was all over him, apparently.
Yes, apparently so. Jess says... Well, she asks Cara... She asks Cara a question. She asks if she remembers that time that Betsy got caught shoplifting and was taken to the police station. And I was immediately like...
Well, like Lila did.
Yeah, I was immediately like, remember that time that you and Lila got caught shoplifting? And would have gone to the police station were it not for her dad coming in with a load of money and basically paying the guy off.
And then apparently they've also been spotted at the mall and at the beach. Oh my god. They're going out. Places in public together. Jessica dismisses it, but secretly she's worried.
Yeah.
And then when she gets home, she overhears Betsy on the phone to Crunch McAllister.
Oh, God.
So, a reminder, Crunch McAllister was the guy that was driving the van that crashed into Todd's motorcycle in Dangerous Love.
Yes, he was
and
drunk.
put Liz in a coma.
He was drinking.
So, which brings us to our question. Why the fuck isn't he in prison?
How is he still... just around
because,
drinking
literally the last we heard of him, he was being put into a police car.
Yeah. He nearly killed someone.
At the scene of the accident.
Yeah, and I mean, like, it's impossible to say, but these books all seem to follow on from each other. This cannot be that long. Maybe he hasn't had his day in court yet.
Yeah. But Betsy's telling Crunch that her days at Kelly's and at the Shady Lady are over.
Yeah.
And she's got a good thing going that she doesn't want to ruin. And she says, never call here again.
Yeah, of course, Jess is concerned as to that good thing, what that good thing could be.
She thinks that good thing is Stephen.
Oh, no.
So in the kitchen, she asks Betsy who was on the phone. And Betsy says, no one who matters. And Jess says, is there someone who does matter? Betsy turns red and says she hopes so, but it's too soon to say.
Well, of course, Jess is completely convinced now. 100% convinced. It's a fact. Betsy and Stephen.
And then we cut to one of my favourite places.
Oh.
Yay.
Where are we going?
The beach disco.
It's the beach disco. I wonder what band would play the beach disco. I mean...
that other band.
Yeah, what was
the Surfers Waves.
The Surfers Waves, yeah.
That played there that one time.
Yeah.
But now it's the Droids.
Of course it is. And we get some lyrics as well.
Do we?
Yeah. I can't remember what they are because I didn't write them down.
No,
we did get some lyrics. It was like, I will love you always or something like that, I think.
Oh, yeah, I do remember now.
They weren't very good.
And Liz and Todd are being soppy, as usual.
Of course.
Their night is being paid for by Bruce because he lost the pizza bet.
Yes, and he does turn up and he does pay his way. He offers Todd double or nothing for the world championship record. But Todd says he doesn't want to risk it. You know, even he knows that Winston's probably not going to manage this competition.
Aww. And Todd is spinning Liz around in the air, her smooth, graceful moves complementing his playful style.
Yeah. There's a moment here where Bruce says he's off to romance a girl on the dance floor, and Liz says, poor girl, to which Todd responds, I wouldn't necessarily feel sorry for her. Some people go for arrogance, and anyway, Bruce is handsome and wealthy.
He tried to fucking rape you.
Yeah, what? That's literally, I was like, Liz was probably referring to the attempted rape.
He had you pinned down on a bed in a house in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
And literally refused to let you go.
Yeah. And yet Todd
And
here...
he also did something similar to your sister.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And then Todd's like, yeah, I wouldn't necessarily feel sorry for her. It's like, Todd...
Oh, Todd was saying that, yeah.
Todd, yeah. Todd was
he
saying.
tried to rape your girlfriend.
And it's like, dude, like, when she said poor girl, she was probably like, poor girl, I've been there, that's not good. And Todd's just like, well, he's got loads of money, he's quite handsome. What's the problem? Like, dude, do you not remember?
And then they head onto the beach to get some air, and they spot Jessica.
Yeah.
And, oh my god. So she's got Aaron Dallas on one arm and Neil Fremount on the other.
Has she just been to Miller's Point with 2 guys?
I know. She heads into the disco with both of them. Like, what was she saying earlier about Betsy with 2 guys?
Literally earlier on complaining or saying that it was disgusting, basically. Like, making out like she was awful for having these 2 guys. Jess is doing it. And not only, Betsy was doing it at Miller's Point. Like, Jess is literally parading them both around.
Yeah. And then inside the disco, this is my favourite bit. Inside the disco, we get a description of Jessica dancing, and the picture in my head is so funny. I don't know if you got this.
I've got a bit of it, but I think you've probably got all of it. So
She
go for it.
It says she whirls around the dance floor, stretching, strutting, kicking her legs up, and spinning around and around and around. Like, she sounds absolutely ridiculous.
She sounds ridiculous, although the book does make a point of saying that she, quote, gracefully moves between the 2 guys.
Yeah, and then she starts moving from one partner to another.
Yeah.
What a piece of trash.
Yeah, I know, right? If Betsy was doing exactly this...
I know.
Like, the conversation that Jess...
If anybody was doing that...
Yeah, actually, you're right. Literally anybody.
Just going from moving from guy to guy.
Unbelievable.
Absolute trash.
But, of course...
And then she gets to Winston, she's like, nah.
Yeah, so Winston's like, hey, want to dance? Because obviously they have a history of dancing. They entered and won that competition, and, you know, they were going to be dance partners. Jess is like, oh no, I'm totally pooped. I'm gonna sit down. He then offers to get her a drink, and she's like, oh, Cara's over there. I haven't spoken to Cara for ages. Bye.
Yeah. She goes to get the gossip from Cara and Lila. So the gossip is that Roger Barrett's mum has had a heart attack.
Yeah, she's in need of major heart surgery.
Yeah, she's in a coma. And Roger's trying to find a way to get her to Houston for life-saving surgery.
Yeah.
So that's the little snippet we get of that for now.
For
but
later.
It's still building up to the next book.
Yeah, they're dropping the Roger hints. With Jess, of course, questioning how on earth his family's ever going to afford that.
Yeah, because if you remember, Roger was working as a janitor.
He was, not a cleaner.
A janitor, yeah. And they were all disgusted at this.
They were. But Lila comes with terrible news. She comes to give her condolences. Looks like it's official.
Jessica turns round and she sees Stephen coming into the disco with Betsy on his arm.
Oh my god.
And Paul Sherwood says loudly to Bruce that he guesses Steve goes for girls who've been around. And
that's a nice way to talk about a dead girl.
Yeah, I know. What was he trying to say? Because, yeah.
Trish just died. You're like, yeah, great.
And Betsy can hear all this and she's upset.
Obviously, yeah.
And Steve says to ignore them. And then one of Steve's college friends joins them.
Oh, God, this man.
Steve introduces him as Jason Stone. But Betsy just blanks him. She's so rude.
Betsy is horrible to Jason in this book.
Yeah, he says how sorry he is to hear about Trisha. And he said he's heard a lot about Betsy. And she's offended by this.
Yeah, she harshly responds saying, I bet you have. Of course, Jason doesn't know who she is. He's like literally heard nothing about her.
He's like, I've just heard that you're a talented artist.
Yeah. You know, that private thing you do? Like, even now even complete
everyone
strangers
knows
know about it.
But Steve explains that Jason teaches an art class at the Valley Community Centre on Saturday mornings.
Yeah.
And Betsy finally looks at him for the first time now.
Yeah, so apparently Trisha used to attend this class, and Betsy always wanted to go, but was too nervous.
And Jason is so lovely. He encourages her to come along to the class.
He does. He's really nice. And
she doesn't really, listen to him. But then when Stephen says she should go, then she's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, well, if you tell me to, then I will.
Yeah. And Jason takes her hand and says she won't be sorry. And then she just flips out.
Yeah.
And she's like, it's only a student-teacher relationship. You can forget everything you've heard about me.
Yeah, and again, I think Jason says like at least 2 or 3 times during this just this conversation alone, let alone the later ones. He's like, I don't know you.
Yeah, so I genuinely haven't heard anything about you.
The only thing I've heard is that you're a good artist, which is the only reason I brought this up.
Yeah, he says he just wants to help.
Yeah.
So she's like, okay, I'll give it a go.
Yeah. And then, of course, the 3 of them hit the dance floor. All of them together.
Another threesome.
Another threesome on the dance floor.
Obsessed with threesomes.
I bet while they're dancing, Jess... Oh, well, I suppose because Stephen's involved, she wouldn't be. But Jess would be like, see?
Yeah. And the next day, at the Wakefield's house, Stephen and Jessica argue.
Yeah.
I was going to say Stevica then.
Stevica
and
this
Jessen.
Has become one very conflicted being.
Yeah. Stevica's arguing at the Wakefield's poolside. She's telling him how humiliated she was at the disco.
So she's like, I have never been so humiliated in all my life.
Bet she has.
And I just put in brackets again. Like, how many times has it been the most humiliated she's ever been in her life? I feel like every book, something is the most humiliated. Yeah.
She says, Betsy's bad news. And he says, have some sympathy.
Yeah.
But she says, Betsy will never be a part of my life. I think she already is.
I think she is, whether you like
Too
her
late.
or not.
She literally lives with you.
Yeah.
So, and she storms off. And then Liz comes along and she points out that Betsy does seem very dependent on Stephen and he needs his own space to grieve. So he admits he hasn't had time to himself, but he tells Liz that Betsy is at Jason's art class that morning and Jason really likes her, but she doesn't trust men.
Yeah. And he also says that he's off to college again next week, so she's going to have to start doing things alone anyway. This conversation went on for ages, with Liz trying to convince Stephen that he needed to give her more space. And it's like, so he's going back to college anyway, and she's already at Jason's life class. So it's like, this entire conversation, Liz, is pointless. He's already going to do that.
Yeah.
Like, it's already happening.
And then later on, Elizabeth's reading through her latest column.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got it here.
Of course.
Would you like to hear it?
I would love to hear it.
Make way for the champ, Winston Egbert, the Sweet Valley High junior who broke the school record for pizza eating last week, will try to set a new world record this Thursday by eating 7 extra-large pizzas in one sitting. Winston's attempt will take place at Guido's Pizzeria and will be televised by KSVH television for the 6 o'clock news. The fucking 6 o'clock news!
There is not much going on in the news this day.
Yeah. And then she says, we're rooting for you, Winston.
Mm.
And then there's another item in there as well.
Yeah, this is, I always like the initials.
Are his days of playing the field almost over? T.H., handsome Sweet Valley High senior, was spotted at the beach disco on Saturday night, pursuing a certain ravishing blonde singer. Is it possible that the popular man about campus is succumbing to D.L.'s irresistible charms?
I love how...
So it's Dana Larson.
Yeah, why does she even bother with the initials? Like, everyone knows who you're talking about. It's really obvious.
So, it's Dana Larson and someone called Tim Houseman. Whoever the hell that is.
Well, I guess we'll probably hear more about him in the future.
Yeah. And then Betsy comes home from the art class and she tells Liz that Jason turned out to be a creep.
Oh, God. She makes such a big deal out of this. She is so angry. She's like, I let myself get fooled into thinking that he loved my art and I really enjoyed being there and he completely took advantage of me. What did he do, Paula? What did this complete and utter bastard do?
You won't believe what this prick did.
This is so awful.
He asked her out on a date.
Fuck her.
Absolute cunt.
I just couldn't believe it. The way I was reading it, like, oh my God, did he actually try and assault her or something?
I know.
Like, this is really serious. And then it was like, no, he just kindly asked her out on a date.
Yeah, and Liz is really confused.
Yeah.
But she says, you won't understand. A date with me only means one thing.
Yeah, and Liz is like, I don't think he meant it that way.
Yeah.
He's probably just a nice guy and wants to take you out for some food. That's probably all it is. Again, how many times? Jason, never heard of you, Betsy. He doesn't know anything about you. He doesn't know about your reputation.
You're not as famous as you think, Betsy.
Or infamous.
Pipe down.
Yeah. I know, it's crazy.
But on Sunday at breakfast, Liz has some hot gossip.
Oh.
Mr. Patman, Bruce's father, is going to pay for Roger's mum's operation.
Well, that's unexpectedly charitable.
Yeah, Ned says Henry Patman isn't exactly known for his generosity. And Jessica thinks there must be more to this than meets the eye.
Yeah, but she's got to go meet Neil, so she doesn't have time to think about it right now.
She leaves to play tennis with Neil, and on the way out she answers the door. It's Jason Stone.
Oh my god.
Lovely Jason.
That horrible, horrible man.
Betsy won't even look at him again.
I know, she's like, oh.
But he's just come to return her sketch pad because...
Apparently she ran away.
She ran away without it, yeah, when he asked her on a date.
That is a very Sweet Valley thing to do, though, running away.
Yeah,
crying
definitely.
And running away does
They
happen
always
a lot.
do that.
Yeah.
And he also tells her that he meant what he said about her art.
Yeah, like I was genuine the whole time.
Yeah, he's still being nice.
Yeah.
It must have taken a lot for him to come over, you know?
Well, the book makes it clear he's quite shy and kind of meek around Betsy. And he obviously actually really does like her, and he's quite shy about it.
And he says that the LA Academy of Fine Arts is conducting a talent search.
Yes. 3
winners will get 4 years' worth of free tuition, room and board. The closing date has passed, but he knows someone on the admission board, so he could get Betsy's application in.
Yeah, he says that she would need 15 pictures, but he feels there's already enough pictures in the sketchbook alone to submit. So he's going to do a massive favour for her. The closing date's like almost passed or has passed. Like, this is a big deal.
Betsy suspiciously asks what he wants in return. And he's like, nothing. And he says, do you want to get together later and I'll help you get your portfolio together?
And she loses her shit.
Yeah. She accuses him of trying to get a night alone with her. She thinks a lot of herself.
She really does, yeah.
And she storms out again. So when she storms out, Stephen explains to Jason a bit about her background.
Yeah, this is the thing. Now her sordid history is coming out because of the way she's acting.
Yeah.
Jason would never have known about it had she not been acting like this.
And he confesses that he does really like her. And Liz tells him to be patient.
Yeah.
And Jason says, like, that's fine, but she really should apply for this art school thing.
Yeah, and it has to be done soon.
And Liz has a plan.
I love this.
So they've got her sketch pad already. So they plan to apply on her behalf.
Yeah, so Liz is like, well, I have an idea. And she's like, Jason, you said there are already 15 sketches in this book, right? And Jason's like, knowingly like, yeah, you're right. There are already 15 sketches. Stephen sat there the whole time listening to this, and then he's like, am I missing something? Like, how dumb can you be, Stephen? It's really obvious what they're talking about doing here. It's really obvious.
You're meant to be training to be a lawyer, Stephen.
I know.
You're meant to be intelligent.
Yeah.
So yeah, they make this plan, and they all agree that it's a really good idea.
Yeah, yeah.
The next day, it's time for Stephen to leave for college.
Yeah, he's packed and he's saying his goodbyes.
Oh my god. This goodbye goes on for 4 pages.
I know.
Like, they act like they're never ever going to see him again.
I know, it's weird, isn't it? And like, he comes back in
every
a chapter.
fucking book.
Well, he comes back in a chapter. He's back.
I know.
He's back really soon.
We all know he's going to come back like all the time.
Most of the time, Liz comes home. He's in the kitchen.
He's never at college.
No.
I don't understand how he gets any work done.
I think he comes home every day to raid the fridge.
Yeah. So yeah, I haven't written anything about the goodbye. All I've written is just that it goes on for fucking ages.
I mean, basically, Betsy hugs him, says she doesn't want him to go, suggests that he needs more time at home. Stephen says that the best thing he can do right now is to get back into school and focus on his schoolwork. It's a good distraction for him, and it's probably for the best. Betsy keeps on basically until Stephen says you can call me anytime, and then she's like, "Oh, okay, I will call you every time, all the time, fine."
And then at school that day, the 3 witches, Jess, Lila, and Cara, are just still obsessed with the Roger situation. It's like, why do you care?
Yeah, I noticed that Jess is in class thinking about Roger, and she actually thinks that he is quite good looking for a peasant.
So they're all like, oh, we want to go and ask Bruce.
See, they're all kind of like,
why his dad is paying, and they're like, you ask him.
Yeah,
no,
they're
you
all like,
ask him.
but I'm not going to ask him. You should ask him.
Like, just none of you fucking ask him. Mind your own business.
Yeah.
But eventually they all go up and ask him.
Yeah.
So mature.
Bruce, of course, just says, my father's a noble and kind-hearted man. He's just doing it out of the kindness of his heart.
And he says that Mrs. Barrett used to work for his dad's canning factory.
Yes.
And also, he points out that his dad is just doing what the Wakefield family are doing for Betsy.
Yeah, which immediately upsets Jess.
Yeah.
Lila makes a point here of saying, but we all know that Roger's mother hasn't worked in the factory since before Roger was born. And, knowing what comes in the next book, these lines are so forced.
Yeah.
It's like they're just so shoved in here.
And Bruce also says, luckily Roger and his mum won't be moving in with me.
Yeah.
And everyone laughs.
Apart from Jess.
Yeah, she's fuming.
Yeah.
So, back to the fun stuff.
It's the day. The big day is here.
We're at Guido's.
We are at Guido's.
And so is a massive crowd and the local news.
I know, this is what is going on?
They make out like it's the biggest event ever.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess it's a pretty big thing for Guido's.
And even Bruce is there.
Weird, though. I don't know if you picked up on this. I couldn't believe this. This probably shocked me more than anything else in this book.
Oh my God,
There's
what?
local news there. There's all this going on. Liz is not covering this for the Oracle.
She's having a well-earned
She's having just
off.
a day off. And I was like, but this is seems to be the biggest event ever. Why aren't you covering this, Liz? For once, she's not covering an event.
And it says even Bruce is there. And then we get a really good little reminder of when Jessica shoved a pizza in his face back in Playing with Fire.
Yeah.
And he fell backwards into that fake waterfall.
Yeah, and then she let the tyres down.
Yeah.
On his Porsche.
This book has got so many references to past storylines. I love it.
I think that is why this book has become one of my favourites.
And also, they go to Guido's, they go to the Shady Lady, they go to Kelly's, they go to...
the dairy's No, Stephen goes to the dairy later to make a phone call.
Miller's Point, the beach disco.
The Fowler Memorial Hospital.
Yeah.
They go everywhere.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's awesome. I love it.
And then Winston strides in wearing a gold foil crown with the word starch on it in cardboard letters.
Oh my.
And all of the news anchors are throwing questions at him.
Yeah.
Like what? What is there you can possibly ask?
Yeah, I mean, it's like there's nothing.
How did you prepare for this?
Yeah.
Ham and cheese sandwiches.
Yeah.
And he's doing okay though until pizza number 6.
We should point out this also goes on for pages.
Yeah, I haven't written much.
No, nor have I. I've written exactly what you have.
I skipped to pizza number 6.
Yeah.
When he gets to pizza number 6, he puts his head on the table and he starts groaning.
Yeah, but Olivia cheers him on to continue on. And he does for half a pizza.
And then he bolts towards the men's room and turns green.
Yes. The cameras focus on the remaining half of the pizza. Winston has failed.
I really want to take away pizza now.
Oh, well, maybe we should do that this weekend.
And yeah,
in honour of Winston's attempt.
Maybe you should try 7 extra large in one sitting.
My lord.
But yeah, everyone's really sad because he failed. But when he gets back from the toilets, he just gives a big thank you speech and he's really smiley and happy.
Yeah.
And that's the end of that.
Yeah.
B-plot ends.
Now, of course, later that night, Jess is super excited that she's going to be on TV. But she's waiting for the news and an advert comes on. A computer advert. And she is so disgusted at the thought of computers that she changes the channel out of pure anger. She's like, oh, no, computers, they're
I thought
awful.
she found computers fascinating.
Yeah, not anymore. Ever since the mass debacle of the last book. Was it the last book or the book before?
I can't remember.
Ever since then, apparently now she hates computers.
I think it was the last book.
I think it was. I think that was the B plot of the last one.
Yeah.
So yeah, she changes the channel to avoid seeing it. But of course she turns back and she's thrilled.
Yeah, she's thrilled because the sleeve of her dress is on TV.
Yeah.
And Liz says, congratulations, can I touch you?
But she is legitimately thrilled by this. Like anyone would know. That's Jessica Wakefield's sleeve.
And then the doorbell rings. And they hear Betsy say, oh my God, who do you think it is?
Oh my goodness.
It's drunk Mr. Martin.
Yeah.
And then we just cut to the next day.
Yeah, we don't really see what happens here.
We don't.
We cut to Ned and Stephen arguing.
Yeah, Stephen, because, we discover Stephen is driven home.
Yes.
As soon as Mr. Martin showed up. Any excuse.
Any excuse.
He'll be home.
He
was going to come home anyway.
He needed food.
Yeah. And Jessica's eavesdropping.
He's piled up some washing. Needs some food, you know.
And Jessica's eavesdropping on Steve and Ned arguing.
Yeah, of course.
Ned is concerned because Steve's been babying Betsy.
Yeah.
And says she can't live with them forever.
Mm-hmm.
But they argue for a while, and then Steve actually comes clean about his promise to Trisha.
Yeah, he finally admits that he promised he would look after Betsy, and that's exactly what he intends to do, no matter what.
And Ned says, well, I'm sure Trisha didn't mean to spend every free moment with her.
No, I'm pretty sure that Trisha didn't mean to do this, to be honest.
Yeah. But Jessica uses this info to her advantage.
Yeah, she's finally realised she's got an idea to resolve this once and for all. So, this was the part when I thought she was actually going to murder Betsy. Because for reasons I can't explain or understand, she waits until everyone's out of the house. And knowing that Betsy's in a room, she enters Betsy's room as quietly as possible and sneaks up slowly behind her. And I was like, is she gonna, kill her? What's going on? But then she just puts her arm on her shoulder, and obviously Betsy's terrified because she's, heard no one come up behind her and someone's just put a hand on her shoulder. She turns around and gasps, and Jess is like, oh, I'm sorry if I scared you. And she's secretly thinking, good, you should feel uncomfortable here. And I was like, you just snuck up on her just to get... Yeah, it was, such a weird moment. I was like... Because at first I was like, maybe she's going to sneak around her and plant the drugs without her seeing or something. But no, she just does it just to make her feel uncomfortable. It was really weird.
And then she strikes up a conversation... and before that, she also sees, when she sneaks up on her, that Betsy's drawing a picture of Alice in the Wakefield kitchen.
She gets fuming about it.
Yeah, it says it makes her blood boil. And she thinks, that's my mum and that's my kitchen.
Yeah, it's my breakfast.
It's like, God, anyone can draw anything they want, Jeff.
Yeah, I don't think you... Yeah, that's fine.
But yeah, she strikes up a conversation.
Oh, she's being lovely.
Yeah, she says how pleased she is that Betsy's straightened herself out. But it's too bad that Stephen can't do the same thing.
Yeah.
He needs to get out and socialise, maybe even date, now that Betsy's back on her feet.
Yeah.
And then she mentions the promise, so she's like, now that you're back on your feet after the promise that he made to Trisha about you.
And then, of course, Betsy's loses it again. Jess pretends like, oh, I put my foot in it. Oh, I'm so silly.
She really loses it. She says she should have known Stephen didn't really care about her and that she's not good enough. And she even starts ripping up her drawings.
Yeah, I thought this bit was a bit odd because it was like, well, he obviously does care because, he's gone above and beyond making sure she's okay. I mean, even like Ned said, I'm pretty sure Trisha didn't mean this. It's like, he's gone above and beyond just looking after her, making sure she's okay. He's gone way above. And
she goes so crazy that Jessica almost feels sorry for her, apparently.
A brief second of remorse, but she snaps back.
And then she says, if you're going to be like that, I'll just get out of your way.
Yeah, okay, I'll just leave you here to freak out.
Now I've upset you. If you're going to be upset, I'll just leave. Okay.
Of course, Jess is thrilled.
And she leaves the study and she's smirking triumphantly as she leaves.
She's done it.
And then she heads to Liz's room and she says, Betsy's left. And she's all like, oh, we gave her a chance and she just wasn't interested.
Yeah. And, of course, Liz brings up Enid.
Of course.
Yeah, again, references. She's the answer anytime anyone's got a secret or drugs or a bad past. It's always Enid. But Jess, so Liz is like, look, Enid used to be into drugs.
Enid used to be a piece of shit.
She used to be a piece of shit.
She used to be trashy.
But the Jess comes back saying that she's so boring. She was probably more interesting before. I was like, well, you're literally saying that Enid was more interesting when she was running over kids in her car, high on drugs, than she is now.
We are constantly reminded of Enid's druggy past.
She's never going to get past it.
No,
right?
we're reminded of it all the time. It
still defines her.
They still go on about it at Sweet Valley University as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it just never ends.
It's just constant. And Jessica also says she heard Betsy calling Charlie Cashman before she left.
Yeah. Oh, no.
So they're really worried. And then Stephen and Jason arrive.
And they've got some news.
Yeah, the news is that Betsy has won the art contest and got into the college.
Yes, she's in. But of course, Liz and Jess say they've also got news. Not good news.
Yeah, they say that Betsy's gone, and Stephen's like, something must have happened to make her do this.
Yeah, but of course,
Jess is like,
I don't know what you're talking about. Who knows?
But Stephen and Jason jump into Stephen's car to go and search for her.
Yeah, so they know that she's presumably with Charlie, so that narrows it down to pretty much Kelly's or the Shady Lady.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, the Shady Lady is the worst name for a pub.
I know.
I'm so glad we didn't call this podcast the Shady
name.
Lady.
It would have been funny.
I mean, it would have been funny, but yeah.
The Google search results,
Would have
people Googled us, probably wouldn't have been great.
I don't think, no.
Although when you Google Kelly's Roadhouse, there
are actual places.
You get some
called
weird
Kelly's
like
Roadhouse.
bars in America, don't you?
Yeah. Maybe it's based on a real bar.
Yeah. So they check Kelly's first, naturally, but she isn't there. And then they do find her at the Shady Lady.
Yeah.
She's at the bar with Charlie and Crunch. Another threesome.
Oh my god.
The book is obsessed with threesomes.
They are, aren't they? Yeah. It makes a point of being clear. She's got a drink, but she's not drunk it. In fact, Crunch is giving her shit for not drinking it. They're both kind of mocking her for not drinking it. But of course, she sees Stephen and Jason coming and immediately takes a swig.
Yeah, she starts glugging her drink and laughing wildly. And she kisses Charlie, and then she kisses Crunch as well.
Oh my god.
So she's like sort of putting on a show for Stephen and Jason.
Yeah.
And she tells them to quit interfering in her life. And she blows cigarette smoke in poor Jason's face.
Poor Jason.
And she offers them a drink, and she's like, "What do you want, Shirley Temples?"
Yeah.
And the three of them, like,
it's the most funny
laugh
thing
hysterically.
ever.
Like, yeah. And Stephen begs her to go home with him, but she says Charlie's just got hold of some dynamite pot.
Oh my god.
And she says she knows about Stephen's promise and that he's free to do what he wants.
Yeah, but of course Stephen says he's not leaving without her.
So Charlie grabs Stephen by the collar
and
says, "If you don't scram, I'll wipe the floor with you."
Oh my god. Stephen tries to tell him. He says, "Look, this is between Betsy and me."
Stephen's really brave in this bit.
He is. Yeah, he says that this is between him and Betsy. But Charlie then punches Stephen.
Just punches him in the face.
Yeah.
And then Stephen tries to hit back. I can't believe it.
Yeah, he does.
But he apparently barely grazes him.
Yeah, we get the impression that Charlie is a big dude and basically overwhelms Stephen to the point that Stephen's on the floor.
Yeah, and Betsy's begging for Charlie to stop.
Yes, Betsy here is showing her true colours. She's like, actually, don't do this, please don't do this.
But then Jason steps in.
Yes.
And Crunch snorts and says, "What are you going to do, skinny bones?"
Yeah, he mocks him for being a flyweight.
Yeah, he says, "I'll just touch you and you'll fall over," or something.
Yeah.
And then he tries to punch Jason's nose, but Jason expertly swerves. And then he hooks his leg around Charlie's ankles, and Charlie lands face down on the floor.
Oh my god.
And then when he gets up, Jason grabs his arm and just flips him over one shoulder. It's amazing.
This made I was so happy when this happened.
Yeah, me.
This was brilliant.
And then he leads Betsy outside, and she's like too stunned to argue, so she goes with him.
Yeah, the whole bar was staring and saw Charlie get completely humiliated.
And then he shyly tells Betsy that he's a brown belt in karate, and he's soon to be a black belt.
Yes, and Stephen kind of seeing that the two were, clearly getting on, and he can see the way that Betsy's now looking at him.
They actually start having a little flirt.
They do, and Stephen says, "Well, I'm going to go to the dairy and phone home to let them know that we found you." So he leaves them to it.
Yeah, and Trisha realizes that Jason does actually care about her because, like, he hadn't made any promises to anyone. He didn't owe her anything.
No,
he was just like he just wants to be with her.
Yeah, but of course, there's more.
Yeah, so Jason tells her all about getting accepted into art school as well.
Yeah.
So then we go to Saturday. The Wakefields have thrown a barbecue to celebrate Betsy's art school acceptance.
Yeah.
And she's glowing.
Yeah.
And she's telling Liz how amazing Liz is. It's like, this wasn't really Liz, it was more Jason and Steve.
I was going to say,
like,
I don't think
really.
Liz had really anything to do with this.
No.
I mean, I guess it was like
her
her idea, but she didn't do anything.
No. Like, Jason literally beat people up for you. Stephen gave you a
Well,
home.
and if it wasn't for Jason, Jason's the one that had the contacts to get it submitted
Yeah,
late. He's
exactly.
the one that did
but
all the
of course,
submission.
it's all about Liz, and Betsy's like, oh my god, Liz,
Um,
you're so great, you're the best.
Yeah, you're such a talented writer. Oh.
And then she apologises to Stephen, and Stephen and Jason have a big 3-way hug with Betsy. Again. Here we go, the threesome again. And Jess is like looking on in disgust at this scene.
Yeah, Jess has learned nothing.
And then Elizabeth comes out of the house looking dazed. She's got some news about Roger's mum.
Oh no.
Roger's mum has passed away.
Yeah.
But that's not all.
No.
Bruce's uncle Paul, who died in a plane crash, it turns out that he is Roger's real dad. He had an affair with Roger's mum when she worked in the factory.
Oh my god. That is what Lila was talking about in all of that exposition earlier on.
And so Roger's really a Patman. And he's going to move in with the Patmans and become the richest boy in Sweet Valley.
Well, co-richest boy, I guess. Yeah. Oh, and I am very excited for that one. I am very excited. So do we have the description for the next one? Or does it just leave it at that? I can't remember.
No, we do, yeah. It says, now Roger is as rich as Bruce, but how much will he have to change to fit into the Patman's world? A lot.
Yes, I would imagine.
Find out in Sweet Valley High number 16, Rags to Riches.
I am very excited for Rags to Riches.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah, very excited. Indeed. This book, well, this was book number 15, and it felt like a lovely, almost a bookend on the first 15 books.
Yeah.
There were references to, I think there were it felt like there was a reference to every book.
Yeah, I can't think of any venue or setting that they didn't mention either.
Yeah, or event. Like, it feels like every book they covered in this book. There was like a reference to something.
When they did the at Guido's with the pizza eating competition, they said that Liz and Todd went to sit down with Ricky and Annie.
Yeah, I know.
So I was like, oh, Ricky and Annie are still together.
Whoever wrote this book.
And who was the other couple they sat with?
I think we get
Robin and Alan.
We do get Robin. Yeah, we get Robin as well.
Yeah,
it feels like it touches on everything from the first 15 books, and I loved that. I really enjoyed that about this book.
Yeah. So we've got some comments about. Just finding them. Got some comments. So we've got some comments about our last episode, Deceptions.
Yeah.
So that was our angry episode.
Yes, it was our angriest episode.
Claire PH said, is it wrong that my favourite episodes are the ranty ones? No, it's not, because they're ours too.
Oh, they're ours too, yeah.
And she said, I'm 9 minutes in and already pissing myself and yelling at my phone. You've just been kidnapped. You don't have to dance with any strange men if you don't want to, Liz.
Oh god, do you know, because obviously we had our break, it's been so long since I read Deceptions, but your comment now is reminding me of how furious I was at Liz.
And Cressida says, a rant today keeps the doctor away, keep ranting.
Oh, we will. I'm sure we will.
Jolie Char says she'd completely forgotten about Jessica using Randy to change her grades. It was the computer one.
It was the maths one.
And then when he does it, she drops him. Maybe Carl should come back and kidnap both twins. And the hothouse flower just says, Nicholas is a creeper.
Nicholas is definitely a creeper.
Happiness Media says, someone needs to turn the house or the sprinklers on Nicholas. He's out of control.
Yeah, yeah.
And then we also had some comments about this book. Because I posted on Instagram that it was coming up.
Yeah.
Waterware says, I cannot stand Betsy, or Stephen for that matter.
I actually felt really sorry for Betsy in this book.
Well, Sweet Valley Elizabeth agrees and says, no, not Betsy.
Yeah, poor Betsy.
Yeah, I felt a bit sorry for her.
Stephen has been a bit odd. I'll give you that. He's nice in this book, but he has had some odd moments there. Concerning behaviour, shall we say.
It only gets worse.
I'm sure it does. I'm sure it does.
Trish's death starts a whole downward spiral for Stephen.
You've mentioned this. Doesn't he keep trying to date girls that looked like Trisha.
Yeah, he gets really weird with some of his dates that look like. There's one in particular, I can't remember her name, but she looks a bit like Trisha, and he basically starts trying to turn her into Trisha.
Oh God. Okay, well that's something to look forward to.
But yeah, Sweet Valley Elizabeth says there's something about Betsy's character that really irks me.
She is, she's very harsh in this book to a lot of people. And
she's very rude.
Very rude. I felt most sorry for Jason.
I know, and me. I like Jason.
Oh yeah, me too. I'm hoping he's around in future books.
Yeah, I have no memory of him, but so I'm not sure if he is. And Jodie Char just says this book has typical Jessica behaviour. Oh,
it does. Above and beyond, I think. You know, Jess is remorseless in this book. From the second after Trisha's passed. She's just awful. But it's funny because, as you pointed out, as she's leaving Trisha, as Trisha is passing away, she's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm gonna be different now. I'm gonna be so different now. I'm so sorry for everything I said." Yeah, it's literally like a page later. A page later, she's just doing it to Betsy. It's like, "Oh my God, you've learned nothing." So keep the comments coming in. We're on Facebook and Instagram as Kelly's Roadhouse. We might be Kelly's Roadhouse Podcast on Facebook, I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. But you search and you should be able to find us. Mm-hmm. And our next episode will be Rags to Riches. Next week we've got Casey's Ice Cream Parlour, where we're going to be doing the new girl. Oh, goodness. I've already forgotten her name, but she was awful. And then after that, I believe it's our Halloween specials. We are going to be doing our Halloween specials, yes. So we've got one more Casey's, one more Kelly's, and then it's time for Halloween. I'm really excited about them. So am I. But yes, thank you everybody. Thank you for your comments, and as Paula said, please keep the comments coming in. We absolutely love reading them. Thank you for listening. Yeah, thanks for listening. Bye.